Hello everyone. I know I have mentioned this previously in my other videos. I have been bombarded by so many requests from people, both outside Turkey, but mainly people in Turkey, asking me to do a brief video, and discuss Turkey's current situation and engage in predictions. Why do they emphasize the word prediction or predictions? I want to give you a little bit of a context so that those of you who are not familiar with my previous reports, with my background, you can understand why this demand for me to come here and provide geopolitical analysis based predictions. There was a coup attempt in Turkey in 2006, July 2016. Sorry, not 2006, 2016. And people were not expecting anything like that in Turkey. Well, about 9 months before that attempted coup, I provided analysis publicly, officially, predicting a major coup in Turkey. I gave several interviews on that, and you can find it. I gave an in-depth interview to Lou Rockwell, and on his website, the podcast and video is available as well, which would have been 6 to 9 months before this coup attempt took place. At the time, it's interesting. The reason I'm bringing this up is because I'm going to provide you and those people who have been requesting with my brief analysis and brief predictions, okay? And I know exactly what's going to happen. People are gonna totally go crazy mad, and they're gonna bash me because this is not the prediction they're expecting. They're coming with expectations, and it's not going to be what they like to hear. And that's always the case. People usually want to confirm their preconceived notion or thought process, and when something challenges that, they end up attacking the messenger, no matter messenger is independent or not, or no matter if it's fact-based or not. And this happened in 2016. In 2016, 9 months before the coup, when I gave these interviews, the only people, and there were many of them, who came and publicly bashed me were people in Turkey. They said, and you can see the comments. You can see the comments on Lou Rockwell's side, on the original posts. I believe Corbett Report had it, or if they still have it or not, I'm not sure. But you will see it on YouTube. All the attacks from people in Turkey, Turkish people, saying, that is very uneducated, that is very stupid what you're predicting, saying there's going to be a coup in Turkey. We haven't had a real coup since 1981 when the military did this coup in Turkey, which they did, 1980, 1981, and we haven't had anything like that since, and Turkey has way past the coup stage. Look at all the insults, look at all the attacks from Turkish people in Turkey directed at me. Then fast forward to the coup attempt in July, and suddenly you will see that, lo and behold, I show up on every single news channel in Turkey and newspaper headlines saying, wow, this geopolitical analyst, Sibel Edmonds, described and predicted this coup when everybody disagreed with her, and she was right. She even gave the timeline. She said, that was she being me, she said that this coup is going to happen 6 months to 12 months from now. It was right on, spot on. At the time it got attacked, At the time it got attacked, later it was cheered for, and the same thing is going to happen. But no matter what, I'm going to go ahead and do it because I am being bombarded by those of you in Turkey who have been asking for this. You're not going to like it, you're going to try to bash me, but I am not doing these analysis, I'm not producing these reports for popularity contests or for some rating agencies. There's no one who's out there who's rating me, and there is nothing for me or against me when I produced fact-based analysis. With that said, let's begin. I'm going to start with the latest. If you look at the latest coverage, external coverage, international media coverage of Turkey, okay, just from the tone and what is being said, you can actually have a pretty good idea of where Turkey is and how it is under the lens, under the microscope, under the magnifier, because it's going to be, there's going to be major developments in Turkey. And I have said this on Twitter. In fact, before I left Turkey on May 16th, I engaged in some predictions on Twitter, knowing that this will remain on the record, saying that July, August latest, you will see major upheaval, major chaos, major bloodshed in Turkey, July, August, not because I don't like Turkey, not because I don't love Turkey, not because I get any enjoyment out of predicting horrible things awaiting, only because that's where the facts point towards, okay? And when you're an analyst, you put these facts, you put these geopolitical indicators, and I was living there for 2 years, and you have a pretty good grasp of the domestic situation, internal situation, arriving at this conclusion is inevitable, okay? So I'm just gonna go ahead and read some of the titles, okay? This was from this morning. NATO launches probe into France-Turkey naval standoff over Libya after Paris complaints, okay? There is a major tension building between Turkey and France over Libya. A lot of this, and I have talked about it in my previous analysis months back, a lot of this related to the Eastern Mediterranean tensions and developments, and that has to do with the pipeline politics, because there is a proposed pipeline to bring resources, natural gas from Iraq, Syria, that part of the world, under the sea, going through that region, Eastern Mediterranean, into Europe. The biggest beneficiaries of this will be, if it goes through, I'm qualifying it, will be Germany, and Germany rules EU. There is no other way to say it. Some smaller countries with people who are awake, they will be nodding and saying, yes, that's our new world order coup makers. And some of them may say, oh, we have some veto powers, we have some power. No. EU may look like a combination of dozens of countries, but EU is all about Germany, and then to a certain degree, lesser degree, France. Italy, Greece, Spain, they don't matter. They have never mattered. And those people who are into facts and realities, and they are realists, they know that. Now, that's for that headline, and Turkey has been in this position of trying to block that, because the consortium that is bringing that pipeline, with beneficiaries being Germany mainly, but of course Germany being in charge will also, through the arteries, France will be a second top beneficiary. Israel is on the other side. Israel would benefit from the other end to get this thing going there. Turkey has been the only voice, lone voice, opposing it since the beginning. And we know, those of you who have been following the news, there has been a lot of muscles flexing here in this region between Greece and Turkey, between Turkey and France. Well, Libya is boiling. In my previous exclusive episode, only available to my Patreon communities and Newsbud communities, I believe it's about 60 minutes, 1 hour long, I explained some of these components in details. I'm not going to go through all those points. As I said, I have some previous videos you can look at, but Turkey has been alone in this, whether against Greece, whether with the Cyprus issue, Germany, France, Israel, basically Egypt as well. Turkey has had fallout with every single one of these countries, including on the other side, Egypt as well. So they are piling up on Turkey because it's the lone voice there. And I'm not saying it's the right or wrong voice. I'm just telling you this is the fact. Here is another one coming from one of the Turkish opposition media, not in Turkey, because you can't have a media like that in Turkey. They are not allowed to exist. They go to jail. But this one is based internationally. I'm not sure where their headquarters is. Some people claim they are backed by Gulen, etc. I don't have any direct evidence, so I don't know. Bolton Exclusives 1. What does Bolton's book say about Turkey? And this is very important. Again, in my hour-long video, I talked about that. I explained that in details. That more than China, what Bolton is doing, even though he doesn't have any credibility, on the issue of Turkey and President Trump is extremely important, because even though he doesn't have the credibility, they are preparing the minds of the naive, unknowing Americans who only tune into the CNN, NBC, New York Times, etc., to what is to come, what they are really planning, okay? What they are planning, the deep state, the coup makers, is Turkeygate against Trump, and for it to escalate long before the November elections. In fact, as I said, it's going to come around July, August, so it's less than 2 months away. How are they going to play it? They're going to play it through various ways. One way to play it is, and I'm saying is because I know it is coming. I know based on everything I read from Bolton's so-called books, his made-up allegations, but also I was in Turkey. I covered the entire tensions, cooperations, everything between Turkey and the United States as a geopolitical analyst. One issue is Halkbank, New York trials. As you know, they evaded the sanction. This is the Turkish bank with their dealings with Iran that is claimed, and they are saying the coup makers, the ones who were not able to implement Russiagate the way they wanted to, or didn't get the results they were expecting. They are basically have been saying, and they're going to say it more, you're going to be hearing it more, that President Trump somehow colluded with President Erdogan to cut some special deal for Turkey and do some illegal, impeachable things and actions to fudge that trial and prevent it from resulting in real sanctions against Turkey. You're going to be hearing this a lot. So that has to do with that, some of it, Halkbank issue. The other case that they are not right now talking about at all has to do with Syria, okay? We did have this S-400 escalation situation when Turkey wanted to get F-35 from the US. US didn't sell to Turkey the way Turkey wanted it. Turkey played the bluffing game. They said, if you don't sell it to us, we're going to go to our Russian brothers and we're going to ask them, ha ha ha. Well, NATO and US saying, hey, you're a NATO member, you can't go and buy from the Russians. Those of you who follow geopolitical and international politics, you're all familiar with it, and you know that I have produced dozens of videos, dozens of articles on this topic. Well, things didn't play out for Turkey the way it expected to, because they wanted to use this, Turkey, to bluff the US or pressure the US or blackmail the US and get what they wanted from Turkey. And what they want from the United States is not only F-35. There are other things, okay? I'm going to get to that as well. Well, Syria becomes very important because one of the main themes, common themes in what General Mattis has been screaming, throwing tantrums about, what Bolton keeps referring to, has to do with President Trump's decision to pull out of Syria. Okay, great decision, rational decision, good decision, but that's not what the coup makers' New World Order wanted. This was designed by Obama-Clinton administration. They are completely directly answerable to the New World Order. They created ISIS. They created this whole mess in Syria. After being successful in Libya, they thought they can do it over there while Russia stepped in. That's the short version of the story. Now, President Trump delivering on his promise during his campaign and pulling out our troops, okay, saying we're not going to get bogged down in that quagmire. BS, we have other priorities in our country. We got to bring back our troops. End of the story. Turkey didn't like this. Turkey didn't like it because Clinton and Obama had made promises to Turkey. They thought they could get something out of it and get US side with Turkey for certain interests that Turkey is pursuing, has been pursuing in Syria, including maybe some land grab and also addressing the situation of the Kurdish problem. Now, why are they doing this? One of the things you're going to be seeing is major explosive events getting revived, getting escalated in that region. And the team, the New World Order team, the coup makers, are going to take Mattis and Bolton and what is to come, these false flag operations, escalating the situation in the region, be it Syria, which is the #1 place, or Iraq or Libya, saying that, look, all this crap is happening because Trump pulled our troops. And we told him that it was a bad move. He proves to be incompetent and he failed in foreign policy. And we are in this situation with no troops, no bases there. That's what they are planning to do. Because the assault on the current president and administration is not only domestic riots, what we have been seeing, which they have created, they have designed, but also it has international and foreign policy component. Well, that foreign policy component is going to come into play within the next 2 months. Turkey is going to be right in the middle of it. Extremely important, but Syria, Libya, Iraq, keep your eyes on that. Okay, with that said, back to Turkey. Turkey, here's another headline. I'm going to read it to you so that you understand where I'm coming from, okay? I'll put my glasses on so I can see and I can read. So that had to do with Bolton. And here is another interesting one. Time for the EU to decide what to do about Turkey, okay? Turkey right now is on this fork. There are 2 roads ahead of it, the current administration. They are pressuring via various channels to turn Turkey against Trump because as we know, as all of us know, the current administration, the current president, President Erdogan, has had decent, good relationship with Trump. In fact, the Trump administration is the only foreign relations they have that is decent, good. Because even with Russia, there's lots of tensions there. Now, Turkey, before this COVID-19 developments, these insanity, COVID-19 designed flu insanity, was coming to the brink of bankruptcy, default economically. If you go and look at the currency situation with dollar, economic situation, unemployment, it was in a pretty dire position. Now, going along and going so heavy-handedly with this COVID-19 insanity basically finished it off. There is not a question, no question of if, maybe, but, no. Turkey is defaulting. There is no way around it, no way. There is not even 0.01% chance around Turkey defaulting as a nation economically. Fact, they're gonna hate me, they're gonna attack me, they're gonna call me names, watch in the comments, and I count on you to respond because facts are facts. Any economist from any part of the world, independent, objective, looking at the books, all countries have books. Looking at the situation, over 50% of Turkey's economy depends on tourism. COVID-19 killed it, okay? Killed it. It's not gonna get revived this year. You add to that textile, export, everything is hit. It was hit before with COVID-19, finito, finished, okay? Now, you're in that position. What happened with Greece, 2008, 2010? A country stepped in. Which country? Germany said, okay, I give you these loans, knowing that Greece was going to default on it. Greece took the loan, defaulted, and Germany came, stepped in, and now owns nearly half of Greece. Airports, bridges, railroads, okay? They own close to half of Greece, pure and simple. That's what they did, knowing that this was going to happen. Now with Turkey, who's going to step up to the platter? Turkey is not part of the EU. So far, the economic rescue package for the COVID, only the one that is designed by Germany mainly, only applies to the EU members. Turkey is not an EU member. Turkey has been falling out with all the other countries on the other side of the world, with Saudi Arabia, rightfully so, but regardless, fallout. United Arab Emirates, fallout. Egypt, fallout. That leaves who? Russia. Russia is not in any shape to economically help rescue Turkey. Russia has not rescued anybody economically because they don't have the economy to rescue any nations. That's not their modus operandi. Iran? Well, Iran is already bankrupt. They have gone to IMF begging for a loan. The only one left is Qatar. Well, Qatar already is maxed out. They said, okay, we gave you $4 billion. We're going to give you another maybe 6 or 7. That's it. We can't stretch any further than that. Well, Turkey needs much more than $10 billion. They need over 50, 60, 70 billion dollars. Excuse me. Then comes IMF. Well, the current administration has a hard time because IMF slavery is something that they have gone on the record with millions of times during every single campaign for the past 18 years. IMF, we would never become a slave. Turkey, about a decade ago, paid off its decades-long IMF debt that was killing Turkey with all the interest, etc. And the Turkish people learned a lesson. IMF is becoming, when you owe IMF, when you let IMF come with their rescue loans with the strings attached, means equals slavery. It's a form of colonization. So when you have gone hundreds of thousands of times on the record saying evil IMF, rightfully so. I'm not saying he's not right. I think he's absolutely right. I don't want to see Turkey going to IMF. I don't want to see Turkey to become colonized that way. With that, it's going to be a political suicide for the administration to walk back that talk and say, okay, we are so destitute and desperate, and it's the only one left and we get the money. Not only that, IMF is not right now offering that money to Turkey. Even if they wanted Turkey right now, they wouldn't give it. You know why? Because that comes with strings attached. What is one of the main strings attached? We will do that if you come and give credibility to Bolton and do a 180-degree turn against Trump. Whether with our designed implementation of false flag operations in Syria using Kurd and Kurdish factors, you know the game, they have done that game many, many times, or on the Libya front, you see where I'm getting at? So it's not going to be only economic strings, it's also going to have political, geopolitical component. So even if they were going to offer, they would have that kind of a string attached. So it's in a lose-lose situation, the current administration. Not only that, with what you're seeing, go back to evilizing Turkey. And I'm not saying the current administration is good, far from it. Don't get me wrong. But what I'm going to tell you is, if you think Erdogan, President Erdogan, current administration is bad, and yes, the opposition coalition party against him, they are 100 times, if not 1,000 times, if not 1,000,000 times worse. Who are they? It's a two-party. CHP, which is written in our English way of saying it, CHP, okay? And the other one is E party, IYI party, which means good party, and they're evil. Those two have a coalition. What are they about? Think about Clintonites. That's what they're about. They want Turkey to become a member of EU. They want Turkey to be Western dependent. They want IMF. They have been marketing IMF throughout their existence, and they are doing it now. Although, had Erdogan gone to IMF, they would have used it for political reason to attack their opponents. But they are pro-IMF. They are pro-World Bank. They are pro-becoming EU member. And most importantly, they are so very, very anti-Trump. The opposition party in Turkey, they are also they are also indirectly funded, indirectly funded and supported by Soros and Soros-related media. If you go and read all the Soros-related media, every single one of them that has written about Turkey, on Turkey in the past 2 years, you're gonna see that they have already picked their presidential candidate. Who's that? CHP, CHP party's mayor in Istanbul, İmamoğlu is this guy. He's one of their larvas, okay? And if you go and see and then ask, say, why Soros and Soros publications have been promoting this guy so very much, I will tell you, well, because they serve Soros and Clinton and the New World Order bosses, the deep state of New World Order left. That's who they serve. That's what they envision for Turkey. That's the only thing they are about. Of course, they're not going to say that. They're going to pose under the guise of they are democratic, they want to bring democracy. I haven't seen any administration who has brought or wants to bring democracy into Turkey or democratic values. That's out of the question. That party doesn't exist, hasn't existed, and it's not going to exist probably for the time to come. That is the fact, that's the reality of the situation. Now, if you see these publications, they are bolstering their positions. That's not the only thing they are doing. They are getting ready, unless Erdogan does a 180-degree turn against Trump, against the US foreign policy, making it easy for the New World Order to go with the planned false flag operations in Syria, Libya, and Iraq. Unless he does that, they're going to be causing a lot of bloodbath internally. They're going to use the Kurdish factions. They're going to use the HDP factions. They are going to use the political riot factions. There's going to be a women's front, the feminists of Turkey, and I guarantee you, because they have already done the legwork for it, okay? And they're going to use those factions, cause riots. If you think the riots in Seattle and New York, etc., Minneapolis was bad, wait until you see what's going to happen in Turkey. And when I say bloodbath, I'm not saying something symbolically out of some poetry book. It's not a poem. It's horrible, it is ugly, but we are looking at literally bloodbath in the country, unfortunately. That is the unfortunate situation. What I'm going to end this with, before the end of August, probably mid to end of July, the process of bloodbath is going to start in Turkey. And there are no really good guys. You're looking at bad and worse, okay? Unfortunately, that is the case. But I'm going to say something that I know my Turkish friends are going to hate me. Turkish people did their share to bring it to this point. I was the only voice out there saying, watch out for this COVID-19 propaganda. Look at the facts. And I even handed them on my Twitter, referred them to all the doctors saying what you're doing is insanity. That was the most fascistic lockdown curfew experience of all time for me and my family. By the time we left Turkey on May 16, my husband, over 65, my daughter, under 20, were locked down for 66 days straight. They couldn't even set foot outside the door, okay? And that continued for weeks and weeks after we left Turkey. That is insane. That is something that every single Turkish person supported, wanted, and they wanted more. Despite the unemployment, despite knowing their country's economic situation, the dire situation before COVID-19, these people went and hid under their blanket and they said, we want more lockdown, don't open it. Even when the government said they were going to ease it and the opposition opposed it big time, these people like little tiny mouse, they're like, don't, it's gonna kill us, which is so, it's insane. Because culturally, publicly, these are the same people, okay? Turkey has the worst traffic death record in the world after Egypt. At least that was the case until 2 years ago, for decades and decades. Tens of thousands of people are injured and dead as a result of Turkish people refusing to even abide by traffic rule. They have to dare everything, okay? Turkish, I'm part Turkish, okay? Contrarians, okay? We don't like these authoritative rules and things, and we like to break them. I know my Greek friends are similar too. We don't drive by the rules. I do it here, okay? So don't come after me for that. And even going back to Turkey, knowing the traffic situation, I'm actually extra careful. So you get the same culture of people And during COVID, despite the economic situation, despite the insanity of it, they all supported and cheered for the lockdown. They are still cheering. And every time I told them, it's on the Twitter, people have screenshots of it, I said, this is a prediction. I know it sounds bitter. I know it sounds harsh. But come July, August, with the bloodbath, with unemployment, with the starvation, with your family, with your children starving, when you're out there demonstrating, one of the things you're going to chant about is going to be, I wish I would have gotten the flu and gotten sick and had fever for 3-5 days than see my child, my children, my wife, my spouse starving to death. Because when COVID-19 having a chance of 0.001% to kill you, starvation has 100% chance of killing you, not even 1% chance of starving. Is there a coup against Turkey? No, it's not going to be some coup. Turkey has been killing Turkey. People there has been killing their possibility of a better future, unfortunately. And with that, the New World Order coup makers have already put together a plan for Turkey with plan A, plan B, okay? If the current government stays, which is not going to happen, I'm sorry, but that's the case, that's the fact of it. But if the current government stays for a while longer, let me put it that way, he and the administration, his administration has to do a lot of ass kissing and engaging in a lot of evil acts, okay, to fulfill and satisfy the demand of the New World Order deep state. If they don't, the opposition group, together fortified with New World Order's operatives, okay, internally taking advantage of a country's economy that is defaulted, they're gonna cause bloodbath. Now, does it sound good? No. Is it written on the stone? Almost definitely yes. And I'm sorry to forecast this, and there is nothing more I can add. Now, I have been doing a lot of domestic political forecasting and analysis here. This is just because I have been asked so many times, have been sent so many emails, I had to do it. I don't like to engage in things that are actually demoralizing, and my intention is not to demoralize people there. But there is a piece here for my American friends who are resisting the coup, who are determined to fight the coup. You need to spread these facts, because 90% of people don't know about what's going on with Turkey, and let them know that foreign policy related coup operations is kicking off, okay? It is kicking off. It is starting in that part of the world. All eyes on Iraq, Syria, and Libya. For ISIS took a break. New World Order leaders with their COVID, they said, go take a back seat, don't do anything. They even said they were complying with the COVID lockdown, people. Their ISIS. Clinton, Obama created ISIS. ISIS revival is happening in the coming week or so. You're gonna see ISIS brand kicking off again with terror attacks. A lot of crap is gonna happen in Syria and in Iraq and also Libya. This is gonna be used against President Trump. It is going to be used to declare him unfit, incompetent, and saying he's the reason this is happening when he's not, because his plan did not mesh with theirs. If you like this report, if you like to see more of it, if you want these reports to continue, please do your share. It takes only a few seconds. I have the link above. Go to Patreon and contribute. Commit to whatever it is you can, whether it's $1 or $100, $5 or $10, whatever it is you can, because together we can. Thank you all. This is Sibel Edmonds, and I'll be with you soon.